I was just reading this in my emails. Syrian refugees in U.S. are thoroughly vetted, John Kerry says. Washington Secretary of State John Kerry, seeking to allay fears from the Paris terror attacks and muffle the outcry over plan to accept 10,000 Syrian refugees in the next year, has sent a lengthy letter to Governor Charlie Baker of Massachusetts and his counterparts detailing the tough screening procedures for immigrants. The 4.5-page letter details the type of refugees who receive priority: families, victims of torture, and children, and describes the multiple screening steps refugees must pass. I went ahead and blew this picture up. See the ones in the pink? Those aren't women. Those are men. That's a man. They're making it look like there's a bunch of women and children coming across, but no, it's not. We're not stupid. We've seen pictures. We've seen live feed. More pictures. In the news. Okay, where's all the women and children? Show me. Look at purple, pinks. You guys are just thinking you're seeing a lot of females in there because of the colors they wear. Boy, do they have you fooled, don't they? And describes the multiple screening steps refugees must pass. It is the most robust screening process for any category of individuals seeking admissions into the United States. Really? So they know how to speak English? Have they took an oath to protect the U.S.? No. Anyway, the letter said, additional precautions have been added with regard to Syrian refugees. I'm just going to tell you right now, this man is lying. The letter also signed by Jed Charles Johnson, a Muslim, Secretary of Homeland Security, also a foreigner, was sent to all governors Friday in response to more than 24 governors, including Baker, who said they would not accept Syrian refugees in their state at this time. It was provided to the Globe on Monday. If you hadn't noticed, Obama hired mostly people from the Middle East for all kinds of his security, homeland security. A rising backlash against Syrian refugees have been reflected in Congress. A rhetoric from GOP presidential candidates and in public opinion polls after reports that one of the terrorists in the Paris attacks that killed 130 crossed into Europe alongside Syrians fleeing terror in their country. Dozens of House Democrats joined their Republican colleagues last week in passing a bill to tighten the security screenings for Syrian refugees. The White House has deemed the measure unnecessarily given existing protocols. Kerry and Johnson said in their letter that Canada has pledged to accept 25,000 Syrian refugees this year. Even as France reels from the attacks, President Francois Hollande reiterated his country's commitment to accepting more Syrian refugees, the letter said. Only a very small portion of the refugees in the United States accepts are unaccompanied adult males, usually survivors of torture. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transvestites, individuals, or those with disabilities, according to the letter. Under the current system, if there is any doubt about whether an applicant would pose a security risk, that individual will not be admitted to the United States as a refugee, Kerry and Johnson wrote. Since October 2011, the United States has admitted 2,159 Syrian refugees into the country, according to the State Department, including 72 in Massachusetts. Administration officials outlined the security steps now taken. Candidates are the first time read by UN High Commissioner for Refugees to determine their eligibility for refugee status, whether individuals have been persecuted based on political opinion, social group, race, religion, or nationality. The State Department then takes over the process through contracted resettlement support centers that conduct further interviews. The State Department performs background checks using a variety of terror, law enforcement, and intelligence databases. The U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services and the Department of Homeland Security conduct further reviews and interviews. The process includes vetting biometric information such as fingerprints for those between the ages of 14 and 79. U.S. Customs and Border Protection conducts more checks. Finally, the State Department and the Department of Health and Human Services determine the appropriate city where a refugee will be resettled. We have tremendous faith in the system's ability to detect, investigate, and disrupt terrorist plotting in this country. Are they fricking serious? as it has done repeatedly, Kerry and Johnson wrote. Baker's office did not respond specifically to a request from the Globe for comment on whether the letter alleviated his concerns about Syrian refugees. Governor Baker recognizes the obligation Massachusetts has in providing care for the refugees resettled in the Commonwealth and is working to ensure the public safety in the wake of all recent terrible tragedies, despite the limited role the states play, said Lizzie Goyton, Baker's press secretary. Baker told reporters Monday that providing help to refugees is something we've been doing forever, and we're going to continue to collaborate and cooperate with the federal government on that. Baker said he continues to have questions about how the agencies vet refugees and how he hopes to have conversations this week about the process, according to the Associated Press. A White House official said Monday the Obama administration had been in regular contact with Baker. The governor's fears are echoed by the Center for Immigration Studies, a Washington-based research group. Jessica Vaughn, director of policy studies at the center, said that while the steps Kerry and Johnson outlined are a good plan, they do not allay concerns expressed by FBI Director James Comey, and there are no government officials in Syria whom the agencies can use to help in the vetting process. The backgrounds of Syrian refugees are difficult to confirm because the United States does not have personnel in the country verifying applicants' claims, said in the congressional testimony last month. So let's break this down. We don't know what we're getting. They don't know shit about what they're getting. They can't verify anything. This is a bunch of babble. I can't sit here and offer anybody an absolute assurance that there's no risk associated with this, Comey said. Vaughan, citing Comey's testimony and Baker's concerns, are very legitimate. There are lots of false documents available to people to create a new identity, she said. And I'm going to show you this just as a reminder that it happens here all the time. And they're thoroughly vetted. Yeah, sure they are. Let's watch this. Just look at all the places. Oakland, Berkeley, Oakland, 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 Ingleside, California, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Illinois, Missouri, Arizona, New York City. It's just constant. Brooklyn, New York, California, Atlanta, Georgia, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., New York, Tucson, Arizona, Texas, L.A., Maryland, Montgomery, Alabama, Baton Rouge, Wheaton. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on forever. But they were all thoroughly vetted too, weren't they? Yeah, there's no guarantee. When they get here, they get together with other ones, and they think they're going to frickin' take over. That's exactly what they're doing. Thinking they're going to take over. And this was in the USA. He's from Pakistan. Former banker, CEO of Bridges TV. Second-degree murder. He beheaded his wife. Yes, here in the United States. And another one. Queen's mom, who threw baby out the window, said boy was possessed. Rashida Chowdhury, 21, 20-day-old son she throws out the window because she thought her son was possessed. I wonder if you guys even read this. Combat vet, U.S. personnel told not to report Muslim child rape because that's their culture. I'm going to leave this link in the box too so you can read it. Rape, jihad in America, now. Muslim, Somali, roving gangs in Minnesota, Colorado, Ohio, and Tennessee. Big list. All these terror attacks in the U.S. covered up by feds. Who could forget little Annie Dukin Khan, another foreigner, that mishandled 34,000 drug samples and put lots and lots of innocent people in prison. Can't forget her now, can we? Anyway, that's just a short list. It goes on and on and on. So anyway, I'm going to leave all the links in the box that I can, and thanks for watching.